In the last episode of Project Scirocco, we removed the cylinder head, which allowed us to get to the fuel injector I accidentally sheared off and take it to the machine shop for a top-end refresh. In this episode, while I have lots of room in the engine bay to work, I'll be replacing the starter. Hey, here I am back again. Let's see, it's time for a cleanup day. After getting the cylinder head off and off to the shop to do some machine work, been off into the engine bay, cleaning up a little bit, putting some bags on connectors. We'll get the distributor cap put back on, tying off any place where water, I don't want water to be. There's the fifth injector, but you can see all the muck and grime and gunk and dirt and just years and years of sitting there. This thing needs a wash really bad.
And my tubby's all filled with water and nice fluffy suds.
Able to design a nice little cover to try to get or keep water out of the block. Well, probably this is just a piece of masonite that was cut off of the regular head gasket. Probably put either saran wrap, plastic wrap, maybe a garbage bag over here, and then put this cover on top. And we've got 4 of the bolt holes cut, and then with some washers and nuts,
these nuts
will secure this down over a plastic bag or saran wrap or something, so that we can get in all of this ucky, grimy, greasy gopher guts.
Greasy, grimy gopher guts.
And try to clean this thing up a little bit before we get the cylinder head back from the machine shop. So, it's cleaning day.
Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun.
Alright, so this is a little bit after the cleaning day, but you can see it's looking pretty nice in here. Didn't get all of the grime and gopher guts out, but it's not looking bad. Not looking bad. Definitely easier to work on, clean, and it's a heck of a lot better than it was. So. Alright, so today, let's change the starter. Alright, so let's see, here's the starter. This is the starter motor right here. Here's the solenoid. In all reality, these are probably just fine, but since I'm in here, I've got plenty of room, as you can see, with all the wiring and radiator and fan shroud out. I am just going to replace it lock, stock, and barrel so that I know I've got a new one. So obviously there's no battery. If there's a battery in here, either take the negative off or remove it. So anyway, the starter is held on by a few bolts. Looks like there's one right here, and I believe there's probably one on the bottom. Yeah, one right here. One right here and one on the top. And then that'll go into the bell housing. So this should be fairly easy job today. I'm hoping, famous last words. So let's get into it. Here's the starter motor from the bottom, and here's, I think, where the other bolt's supposed to be, and there's no bolt.
What?
There's no bolt to take out.
What?
So this starter motor has been on here with one bolt this entire time.
Exactly.
So this one, I believe, should go straight through to this bracket, and there's nothing on the other side. What the fuck? Well, let's take the top off and see if it comes off. Alright, here's the long bolt from the top. There's the long bolt from the top. And the whole damn motor came out. What the? Unbelievable. Wiggle this thing out of here.
A few moments later.
Alright, so, cleaned up this bracket, got it put back on, and then basically, this thing talks about the bushing that must be installed, and the bushing is basically in the housing, and then this is where this slips into. So, from what I've seen online, basically need to take a tap of the right size.
Oh yeah, I tap it once, twice a day when I'm out of town.
And put it into the existing bushing and pull it out.
That's what she said.
So that's what the bushing looks like. And I selected an M12, which should be just about the right size. So the goal is to put the tap in and then get a grip on it and then pull the existing one out of the housing. So we'll see if that works. Okay, there's a little bit of light on it. So up in there, we're going to try to get that bushing out. We'll see. Oh, there's some more of it. So it's coming out little by little. I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera or not, but you can see that this there, it's just kind of coming out in pieces. keep checking. So yeah, there's still a little bit left. Maybe this is the way to do it. It's not very efficient, and it kind of doesn't feel right, but I guess it works.
That's what she said.
So after placing some grease on the outside of the bushing, I tried using a socket to press it in, but it kept slipping and I was worried about damaging the surface. So what I ended up doing was using a small block of wood, which drove it in just fine.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Alright, so it's time to put this new starter on. Go ahead and put a little bit of grease on the nub here. I'll put some grease inside of the bushing that we just installed. And then back in the first part of the video, this was the bolt that was on the top of the starter, and there was no bolt for the bottom, so I went out and sourced a M10 by 1.5 thread bolt. This one, from what I could find online, was supposed to be 155 millimeters long. This is close. I don't know if this is going to be actually too long. I've got some grade 8 nylock bolt to go with this. These are supposed to be torqued both of top and bottom to 34 foot-pounds, so we'll see what happens. This top bolt actually doesn't need a nut. These nuts! It goes right into the motor mount that's at the front, which I cleaned up. It's already got a bolt welded to it. So yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing on.
Is it in yet?
All right, so let's put some medium strength thread locker on here and get this thing put back together. But down in here, this is where the bolt threads in. It's part of the engine mount, forward engine mount. So I took that out and cleaned it up, and it goes right here to a mounting point that's underneath where the radiator would be, right in the front of the car. So the top position has got a nut that's already welded onto it, and that's where the top bolt goes. So I'm going to start that one, and then let's get the other bottom bolt in just to position them both so that we can finish out this installation. And down here is the bottom part of the front engine mount, and that's where the second bolt will come through, and this one will need a nut. And again, we'll throw some medium strength thread locker on here and get this one started through. Well, so this built-in washer actually is interfering with the starter, so I think I'm gonna have to go file this off. I'll be right back.
So it definitely doesn't show it very well in the camera view right here. I was able to file off enough of that built-in washer, the flat that you see right there, so that when I put it in the mounting hole, it actually slipped right by the interference point on the starter motor itself. The bolts were torqued to 34 foot-pounds each. Okay, so the last part of this installation was to put the electrical connectors back on. Not so sure about the first one I put on there. It was in the same position as the last starter, so we'll see. And then these two leads were coming directly from the battery. All right, so that does it. One more component out. That's old. The new one's installed. We're getting one step closer to getting this girl fired up. Hey, I really appreciate everybody that stopped by and all of the kind words and the comments and encouragement that keep me going. So I hope you find all of this useful. If you do, I'd appreciate a subscription. If you like the content, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, as well as any comments that would help me with the YouTube algorithm get this out to other people. Next on the list is all things water and oil. So until then, we'll see you next time.